Hey guys, welcome back to Coin Knowledge. So today we're going to be talking about a new hyped gaming launch in the gaming sector. One that actually got a pretty big catalyst right off the beginning, right at launch, which we'll talk about later on in this video. So if you guys are a fan of new projects, keeping up to date in the gaming sector, consider subscribing to the channel and liking the videos. Your support means everything, and I really appreciate it. If you take a look here, the project we're going to be covering today is Blocklords. Now, this is a project we have talked about in the past because, again, this project has been anticipated for, the last 6+ months here. So it's actually one that we have looked at for a little bit, brought up in the past here. If you take a look at Blocklords, we'll take a look at their website, their tokens, since it is a new launch, and then the vesting schedule. A couple things to point out as well towards the end of the video, so stick around. So if you take a look at Blocklords, see what kind of game it is. So immediately this game does kind of remind me of something like Frostpunk a little bit, or I think it's like Lost or Forsaken, something like that. Another game as well. Take a look at their website. The website does look good. Just off the initial review here, the website does look pretty good. So I think, that is always a plus. Look at the gameplay. So it's kind of what the gameplay does look like. We're going to take a look at it as well on other screens also here in a minute. So you can see the graphics wise looks pretty good for the genre game it is. Kind of like a top-down kind of town or city management where you can control a bunch of people. You can set them on tasks. You're completing quests also. Then obviously you kind of control all of them at once to do attacks. So the game does look pretty cool. It actually does look like a game that would be on PC or Xbox, stuff like that. For gamers by gamers, the Blocklords team. They do have a docs team. We'll take a look at that here in a little bit, and I'll show you what I mean by that. If you see their partnerships, they've had a lot of investors. Again, we'll take a look at that here in a little bit also. But big names like Animoca Brands, obviously Immutable X, Polygon, Avocado DAO, Infinity Ventures, Seascape, Moonrock Capital, Woodstock. Just so many, big investors and backers that we typically will see. Hyube Ventures as well, Spartan. So pretty big there. Again, they had good funding here for this project. So that is something where we'll take a look at that and see kind of how the fundraising rounds went. But if you do look at their LinkedIn here, linked at the bottom, they have all their socials. You can get in there and see the studio behind this project. So, if you're interested in that, you can get in there and take a look. If we go to about, again, I like the website. The one thing I wish you could there was like a bar on the right where you can go up and down without having to use a scroll wheel, but that's just me. If you take a look here at their team, again, on their website, their team doesn't look like it's fully doxed, but if you go to their LinkedIn, again, you can see it. They have like 100 employees currently right now, around 100 or more than 100, so pretty big there. I'm not going to go to it right now. If you take a look at their Epic Games listing here, because you actually can get the game right now. You can play it. It is a playable game. They have a couple trailers here, and then obviously you can see the style of game as well. So again, it reminds me of something like Frostpunk, or I can't think of the other game right now, but another game, or Burden, Banished. I think it's Banished as well. Let me know if you played those. But that's kind of what it reminds me of the genre. So you get a town or a city, then you can start leveling it up. They actually have this dynasty mode where you can get in here. You can start playing it. You can make your own house as well. And again, it is just like an MMO. That's where we see here. Then you fight for renown. You can do duels, missions, house, orbs, stuff like that. And pick, again, you're just building up your house. So you can see here the renown, all the resources at the top right. And then you can do these different missions. You can attack different areas. There's the map, obviously. You can spend resources. You have your character, your town that you're managing. So if this is your kind of game, you'll already know immediately if it is or isn't, if you've gravitated towards other games like this genre and, typical Web 2 gaming. Because these kind of games that I've found is that you're either, just based on my own friend group or growing up with them, you're either about these games or you're not. That is, what it is. It's not like a shooter where you can kind of get sold on it. You're either about these games or you're not. Typically. So I like these kind of style games. I kind of like these like top-down town management where you're just controlling a bunch of people. I kind of like it. If you look at this video here, I don't know if it will kind of show us. So again, this is some of the gameplay live. This is what the game looks like. So it looks pretty quality. Again, nothing overly AAA, but most of these genre games aren't, from my own opinion. Again, a lot of them do just look like this. If that makes sense, you know what I mean here. It's not going to be like a Witcher 3 graphics, but this actually is very on par for the genre of game. Okay, I don't know what happened to the video there. But either way, if you look at the white paper, again, more gameplay, which we can kind of recap to. Is the same video I believe we just watched. So we can see what happened there. So we see all the different tiers. We can start upgrading as your CD goes on and on. You start really getting more tiers, upgrading the CD, advancing with technology, stuff like that. Again, that's just the kind of game that this is. So that really is it. They have their roadmap here of everything that they do plan on, one that they've completed and also stuff that they're hoping on getting done as well. Looks like they have maybe a Lord chain, so maybe their own L1 or L2 potentially. Blocklords mobile, so they are planning to be on mobile, which again, my take. I think that mobile games are gonna have an advantage over games that are just PC or not even console, but just PC. So I think that mobile does target a lot more player base than just PC does. So I do like that that's coming. If we can see that happen, that could be a potential catalyst in the future. Now that's kind of what the project. Oop, bumped my mic. Sorry about that. But now we can go back and look at the token because again, that's a quick recap of what Blocklords is. It is an individual game. It is not an ecosystem, so it is worth making a note of since we do cover both on this channel in the space. But if we take a look at Blocklords, now we do see that they're sitting at a $10 million circulating market cap. Yes, there's some dilution with about 7 to 8% of the supply currently out, so the fully diluted is still, and I say only, but only $140 million in market cap because we see a lot of these new token launches that have a crazy high FDV, which kind of shies away a lot of people. But again, nothing crazy as far as an FDV in my opinion. Pretty good volume, but again, they did just launch on the 24th of July, so here recently. But if you see here, they launched, about at $1, did a quick little post-launch dip, ran all the way up to $2.50, and then it has kind of just been holding relatively steady off the initial sell-off from that 2.5. So holding pretty steady around this like 1.5, 120 range level, just to go high and low there. So not too bad, but again, it hasn't been out for a while, so I definitely, as always, nothing I say is financial advice, but I would definitely be cautious of potentially getting involved with a new TGE, with a new altcoin, especially in this market condition. I would kind of just let this start forming a chart a little bit. What I mean by that is just give it time to either fluctuate, get all that volatility kind of hankered out, ironed out in the beginning. Because we see a lot of these new token launches, especially gaming coins, typically will nosedive after token launch, but one thing I do want to point out here, the big catalyst I was bringing up in the beginning of the video, they did day one launch with the Coinbase exchange listing. Now, if we look at other projects like Carrot Coin with My Pet Hooligan and Pirate with Pirate Nation that got the Coinbase listing day one, those tokens seem to have done pretty well as far as price action goes, especially for being newer tokens within the last 60 to 90 days. They've done pretty well in price action, so it'd be interesting to see here if the Coinbase listing day one for gaming altcoins does kind of help stabilize the price. Now, if you take a look at the actual project itself, we'll go to fundraising before we get into the vesting schedule because the vesting will actually surprise you, in my opinion. If you take a look here at the funding rounds, so CryptoRank doesn't show us a whole lot, but if we look at the IEO, we can see that there current early investors on the IEO. They're only up, and I say again only, but they're only up about 2.5x right now, just barely 2.5x. And again, they only raised 70K on the IEO. But if we look at seed sale, now again, the seed guys are probably up way more than the IEO. They did raise $17 million. So if we look at the total raise, it's obviously 17 million and 70K. So pretty decent amount of fundraising, especially in the markets that we've been in here recently. If we take a look at the investors here, big ones. Again, we saw them on the website here, but multiple different pages here of different investors. We kind of go through a lot of them here. So it makes sense that they had a lot of, funding here behind this project. Definitely makes sense, but I just wanted to go over that real fast. If we go to vesting, so right now, again, we can see that about 8% of the supply is currently out. They do have an unlock happening in about 24 days, which will be 2% of the supply. We can take a different look at the token allocation here. So community and ecosystem makes up a majority of it, and then investors are second right behind community and ecosystem. Now the big thing is that they do have pretty broad linear vesting schedules. So the community and ecosystem is a 10-year vesting schedule. Pretty insane. That's a pretty long vesting schedule. Then investors is 30 months, marketing a year, foundation reserve is 7 years, but it is on a let's see here. It's on a 3-year cliff. Advisors are on a 1-year cliff, and then it's a 30-month vesting schedule. Then liquidity is 100% already unlocked here, so nothing to be overly worried about there. So again, you can see here that two of the categories here, about 20% of the supply isn't even going to get touched for the first year, 10% for the first year, and then for the first 3 years, another 10%. So that's 20% kind of out of the way for the majority of this bull run or this cycle. If we kind of expect it to maybe potentially top out towards the end of 2025, it's something worth making a note of. And that doesn't leave a whole lot, especially when looking at a 10-year vesting schedule for 36%, and then a 30-month for the other 31%. Again, if we take a look at the vesting schedule right now, so obviously in August 23rd, we have a 2% unlock, and then every month it's about 2% here. If we look towards the end of 2025, we'll go to November of 2025. We can see that there will be about 40% of the supply will be unlocked at that time. So really, that's about roughly about a 4x in dilution between now and the end of 2025. Now, I think gaming will run beforehand, but nobody really knows, and nobody knows if this cycle is going to end at the end of 2025. That's just going off previous runs and previous cycle history and charts. So that's just an estimate why we choose at the end of 2025. But again, gaming could run before then, or it could be one of the last narratives to run like the last cycle. Nobody really knows, but I think a 4x in dilution between now and the end of 2025 isn't bad, especially when you compare it to other new token launches that we've covered on this channel. Again, some of these gaming altcoins are launching right now at about a 10 to 15x in dilution between now and the end of next year, which is pretty aggressive. So we're looking at a project like this that has quality, that has funding, that has the exchange listings with a 4x in dilution. Again, that's not that bad, and you can obviously break it down and see where all those unlocks are coming from every single time. Again, nothing from the foundation and advisors. So it is going to be investors, marketing, and community and ecosystem. For the most part, those are going to be the three sectors that's going to be unlocking over the next year. And then we'll get into advisors, as we can see here. Now, if we go back to their markets right now, again, the big one that we want to point out is obviously the Coinbase listing, because, again, that's where we're seeing a lot of the volume there. And then KuCoin and HTX. Odd that KuCoin is making more than Coinbase, but HTX is a quality exchange. But either way, we have Coinbase, Gate.io, HTX, KuCoin, Mexi, Bitmart as centralized exchanges. And then they are on Ethereum. If you want to go a DEX, they are on Ethereum. I don't know if they're going to choose other chains to potentially build on. If you go to their Twitter here, we can see that their Twitter, again, they did recently launch. So just take that into account if I can get my Twitter to load. So if we take a look at Twitter, again, the company behind them or studios is MetaKing Studios, and then they just went live on the 24th. So there was an airdrop as well, I believe, for people that actually got into the game, was playing it, was farming it. So that is something worth mentioning as well. And then founder of Blocklords. So right there you have David Johansen, which, again, Doc's team. You go on their LinkedIn, you can kind of find out a little bit more about them. But you can follow their Twitter and get more information on them. I'll do so right now. I thought I was already following them. And then Coinbase listing. So again, that's when they made that announcement there as well. So overall, I think the game looks pretty solid. I think the game's a little niche. This is where it kind of gets into pros and cons. I do like the game, but again, that's because I like these games anyways in traditional gaming. I think the game could be a little niche, but if we're looking at niche down sectors, I think for this category and caliber of game style, I think this could be potentially the leader in its sub-niche class. I think it is the best quality of this genre of game. So it does have that going for it. As far as exchange listings go, they have it pretty well covered. Again, with Coinbase, HTX, and KuCoin being the tier 1s and 2s, I would say. So their exchange listings covered. Dilution, I get about a 4x between now and the end of 2025. Nothing crazy, especially when we look at gaming altcoins. And even if we're looking at FDV, relatively low for, again, the caliber of the project. And the circulating market cap, again, it's a nice refresher to have a new token launch not launch at over $100 million in circulating market cap with still a high FDV and bad dilution. So a $10 million circulating market cap, in my opinion, is pretty decent. But again, at the end of the day, this is a new token launch. It's definitely going to be volatile. It definitely could either stay stagnant or it could just dump at any moment and just stay like that for quite a while until gaming does run. So it's not something that I would advise getting involved with immediately. I'm not even telling you to get involved. Again, nothing I say is financial advice. I'm just bringing it to your guys' attention, giving you guys my opinion. Again, the game's a little niche, but it does make it, in my opinion, the best in that niche category. They do have good exchange listings, good backers, good fundraising, not terrible dilution. Again, there is dilution, yes, but it's 4x, not 15x, which we've seen on other projects in the gaming space alone. And we've seen it with those projects that have that high dilution with definitely not near as good of exchange listings. So that is worth making note of. But because it's so brand new, only time will tell. Let's let this chart kind of form a chart, play out a little bit, get some of that initial selling pressure out. And again, early investors are up on their money, but they are getting their unlock. I believe they had some at TGE, about 3.7% at TGE, and then they are getting again those monthly unlocks of 2% of the supply every single month. So it'll be interesting what happens with Blocklords, but again, right now, we've seen other projects like Carrot and Pirate Nation do pretty well with getting that Coinbase day one listing, especially Pirate Nation. So this could be another project that follows that, that case. And out of the three, I do think Blocklords has the lowest market cap at launch. So that does have that going for it as well. Again, let me know, guys, in the comments below. Would you play this kind of game? Do you like these kind of games? Are you excited for Blocklords? Or have you played it already? And if so, give me your feedback. Let everyone else know in the comments below what your opinion is. And if you guys are interested in getting into a community, we can kind of ask questions or let us know firsthand of how you think of these projects, or if you want to just let us know about it, consider getting to the Discord linked below. Really appreciate everyone that's gotten in there. And if you got value out of today's video, if you guys can like the video, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share the video. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right. See you guys.